filling in for Jason today, and this is his report, and I'm happy to present it. So this is just an update for the last 2 weeks of what's been going on with COVID in Saline County. Want to move to the next screen, please? Thank you, Phil. The next screen basically shows that in the last 2 weeks in the U.S., there have been an additional 1,846,803 cases, and sadly, an additional 15,421 deaths, and that is just in the last 2 weeks. Next slide. In the last 2 weeks in Kansas, there have been an additional 33,514 cases, 538 additional hospitalizations, 220 deaths. So not a pretty picture. Next slide, please. In Saline County, in the last 2 weeks, we've had an additional 504 cases, and I went and looked this morning, and even since this was reported, we've had an additional 42 cases just this morning. There are 26 people at this point that are hospitalized. That number 24 was updated by Hannah to 26, so the slide is just a little off. Next slide, please. As you can see, the case count in Saline County is steadily climbing. It's pretty clear that each month has seen more cases than the previous month, but the rate is increasing rapidly. We have already seen 100 more cases in the first half of November than the whole previous month. At our current rate, we could easily see more than 1,000 cases this month. With the significant increase, we are having a hard time keeping up with doing the contact tracing, and it's becoming more and more difficult to do this in a timely manner. Our clinic contact tracers are doing the absolute best that they can, but it is very difficult to stay on top of this. Next slide, please. Again, you can just see the steadily increasing number of cases by the bar chart. Next slide, please. So what's next? Well, we're hoping that the vaccine will be along in a few weeks. However, there are a lot of weeks between now and then. We all need to remember to take additional measures and consider mass gathering limits. The success of any measure is dependent upon everyone in the community doing their part, so please wear your mask. Something that the CDC just came out with on the 10th of November is that they are now saying that wearing a mask can help protect you, not just those around you, which is a bit of new information that really wasn't out there. And even though it seems obvious, but wearing a mask also protects yourself, not just the other people around you. So that's good to know. Next slide, please. So with the holidays coming up, we're trying to focus on what we can do instead of basically being the person always saying, no, you can't do this, no, you can't do that. So what we're hoping to tell people to do is just to do things small. Keep it in your home. Try to have, special events that you can have and remember. Maybe do Zoom Thanksgiving or something, but just try to keep these gatherings small. Don't travel if you don't need to. Next slide, please. This is the link to some Thanksgiving tips with regard to, again, what I just mentioned with regard to just trying to keep it small, doing things within your own home, trying not to have massive gatherings in your home where people come from multiple states. The last slide is basically just trying to tell everybody that this really only is going to work if everyone does their part. Everyone needs to be concerned about themselves and everyone around them, and just show some compassion, because this is difficult for everyone. So please remind people that when they call the health department, we're doing the absolute best we can, and we really do wish for the very, very best for everyone and hope that everyone has a safe and happy holiday season. And that's the end of my presentation.
I'll tackle the very easiest part of this very, very quickly, and that is on the resolution. The consensus of the commission, I assume, would be to continue the resolution of wearing a mask.
Absolutely.
Correct. Yep.
And that having been said, it's quite obvious that just wearing a mask isn't working. And we need to take some other steps, and pretty harsh steps and pretty quick steps. I don't want to get into a knee-jerk reaction. You know, it's like voting on a mass gathering as an example that you mentioned there. I think that's certainly something that should be addressed. For us to just take it on today and say, we're going to limit it to 50 people or 20 people or whatever that number is we have to have a little background on this and to go that way. And I think later in the meeting we will be addressing this a little further. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Philip Smith, Haines County Administrator. So, yes, absolutely. Under my report, I wanted to talk to you about my attendance at last night's Saline City Commission meeting and a letter that they've sent to you. But while we're on the topic of the mask mandate specifically, I wanted to let you know that the Saline City Commission last night directed their staff to bring back next Monday an amendment to the mask ordinance for the city of Salina, which would amend the Section 2 language to basically delete the words 6 feet. So under Section 2A, rather than saying inside any indoor public space where a distancing of 6 feet at all times is not possible, it will just say inside any indoor public space at all times. So that will be coming to the City Commission for action next Monday. Part of the rationale of the county resolution was to align it with the City Commission's ordinance so that there was a uniform set of rules throughout the community. So I'm just throwing that out there in case your commission wants to take any sort of action to align with that, effective next Monday or what have you, if you want staff to bring it back next Tuesday. So
I guess my feeling would be that the administration would prepare us something that would align with the city. Obviously, our meeting dates being one day behind theirs, they're a step ahead of us, and you know, we do need to work in conjunction with this. And so I would like to hope the other commissioners would agree with me to instruct you to you know, come up with a plan similar to what they've got next week, and then we can vote on it and say yes or say no.
Yes,
but
please.
We do need to have a plan.
Please bring it Tuesday.
I would, just a couple questions. Did they, and I feel a little badly talking about this since I own a restaurant, but from my other restaurant friends, was there any further discussion on what that meant about it all the time indoors?
there was some discussion of that. There were discussions of a lot of different things at the city commission meeting, but basically that amendment is to the requirement under section 2, but then the exceptions are, they're under a later section, section 4, I believe it is. And so there would still be, I don't believe they're intending to amend that exception for restaurants and bars, but they did talk about, you know, what constitutes eating and drinking, that there is a lot of, anecdotally, I don't think there's any, you know, studies of this, but it seems like what people have observed, there is a lot of, okay, you pull your mask down to take a drink, and then you just leave it off for the remainder of the time you're seated at your table, whether you're actually eating or drinking or not. So There was discussion of that. There was not specific direction to staff to amend that. Like I said, the direction was really about that 6 feet, and the thought was that there was just a lot of in businesses, there's just a lot of people who pull down their masks when there's not somebody right there with them, and that was a way to message essentially that they want this mandate to be stronger.
Did they talk anything about the field house? I know that we were just shocked to see an event there Saturday, and
They did discuss that, and I can get into that a little bit more later, what else they talked about, but I just wanted to bring the mask piece specifically while we're
I have a question on the mask. And I watched the entire city meeting, so but it still, kind of flies through there every once in a while. But on the mask, let's just take your office as an example. You're in the building, you're in an office by yourself. Would that include that you would have to wear a mask at that time while you're in that office by yourself, that confined area?
So, again, there, in the definition of a public space, it is does not include private residential properties or private offices or workspaces that are not open to customers or public visitors. So, my office is, my individual office is typically not open to the public unless I go up front and, invite somebody back. So I probably wouldn't have to wear a mask as long as I'm at my desk. But for example, Linda and Colleen would have to wear the masks all day rather than just when somebody came into the office.
Okay. Well, again, there's going to be so many questions for us to address, and I know that we can get into that later in our meeting here, but in an effort to stay with our agenda, we'll take this up in a few minutes.
Okay. I will, while Laura Lee is here. The governor kind of took the lead when this first happened in March or April, and counties were left to react to that, and that was fine. Doesn't seem that that's happening right now. So there's a lot of piecemeal things that you read about in the paper. Have you studied anything about what do you think works that other counties are thinking about? I know...
I wish that I had some answers for you. I think the thing that needs to happen is people just need to be more diligent about wearing masks and need to really take this seriously.
Right.
I think that people are just so burnt out from COVID. I think that's the main problem.
Right.
Everybody realizes it's a problem, but nobody really wants to be inconvenienced by it. And, I wish that there was something that was just mandated so that it would force people to behave, do what's right by themselves and for other people. But again, the problem is everybody's just so tired of it. But there is light at the end of the tunnel if we can just
get there. And
if people can just do the right thing for the next, 6 months, because I really think it's going to be, by the time everyone actually has the opportunity to get vaccinated, because it's going to be a 2-shot series, and so it's going to be going in groups. I'm sure you've all read that, but it's not a matter of just a few months. It's going to be a little bit before we're all actually able to get through the tunnel. But honestly, that's it. People just need to care about themselves and care about others. But no, I don't have a magic answer. Okay. Sorry. I wish I did.
Well, I think everybody looks at us that we do too, and we're struggling with this too. And what's the right balance? So yeah.
Well, it's kind of like when somebody doesn't feel well and they've spent their whole life not living correctly, and then they want to go to the doctor and get a magic pill. Well, you kind of have to do right by yourself throughout it so that you have a good end result. Well, it's the same with this. You have to kind of do the work throughout your life or throughout this period to actually see it through to the end, and so that it's a good end result. But from the bar graphs and from the numbers right now, it's just not going in that direction, unfortunately.
Thank you.
Well, I disagree with one thing that you said there, and that is that everyone knows that there's a problem. I think that's part of the problem, is there's a lot of people that don't recognize or don't wish to recognize that there is a problem. And that, while that percentage is dwindling every day, particularly if someone gets it, you know, their attitude changes pretty quickly. But if everybody recognized, as you insinuated, that there is a problem, a major problem, I think it would sure help a lot. But obviously, it's going to take more planning on our part, and rules and crackdowns and enforcement.
Well,
So,
thank you.
all right, thank you.